chased away all the hawks. Unless they're back somewhere hiding that I don't know about. Watered all my flowers. And changed the nectar in their feeders so that hopefully they'll like it and it'll be all fresh. Well, they disappeared on me, so I am going to take a few minutes and do what I said I would do yesterday afternoon before I got sidetracked and wasn't able to finish it. If you live in a place where it freezes soon and you want to keep as many of these blooming or alive in the roots so that they can come back next year, you can do one of two things. You can cut them way back if you got room for them in a shed or a garage or something like that where they can stay above freezing. Great. You don't have to water them very much, just a little bit every now and then take them out and put them in a sunny spot early in the spring. Even if a person put a bunch of pots in a row with a hoop over them in plastic, you could put a little heater in it just to keep it, you know, in the 40s or something so that they have a chance to wake up. But I don't have enough space here for that. I wish I did. So what I did a few years ago, which was a happy accident, I did not know it would work this way, but for the winter I put my bird baths here in the rocks because, well, we have a nice sliding glass door there and some windows here and chairs where I can sit out here. But we put the bird baths here in a line, and then I cut down all of the plants that have roots where they would be a perennial somewhere else, which is the case with most. Zinnias you can collect seeds off of. Cannas, they're kind of a pain to dig out of these pots, man. They take up a big bunch of root system or space, but just to be on the safe side with cannas, I usually dig like one pot of each color, and I keep those bulbs in a box in the garage. I just clean the dirt off of them. It's better than washing them just to kind of let it dry and then fall off so they don't get too dried, and wrap them in some paper or something. I might do a video when I do it, but the rest of them I cut back. And then we have a recycle place that is in town here for everybody who lives here, for all the people who trim their trees. And all the people can throw their trimmings at the recycle place and they make mulch out of it. But they allow anybody from town who also pays a utility bill there to go gather those sticks or branches. And what I've found makes great decorations for me and is free. Takes some work, but I go down there and I try to get some white bark branches, 8 to 10 feet tall or less, and nice clean branches that I can put in the center of the pots. I don't dig the roots of these plants out. I just try not to stick the sticks right through the bulbs or something that I want to keep. But I might put one or either a branch that branches out in several directions, or 2 to 3 in the center of each pot. And then I get pine boughs, blue spruce, anything, the more dense it is, the better insulation it makes. And I stick them in so that they kind of hang, they cover everything in the bottom of the pot, but so that they kind of hang out the sides and make for a nice bouquet effect. I'm gonna put a link to my other channel, Birds and Bird Baths, Birds in Bird Baths, just the letter N. So to the pots that I did and the decorations that I put up last year. But what happened when I put all those pine boughs in there, nice and dense, and I put a lot of little boughs that had branches from trees with berries that birds like, and I stuck them in all the pots, made a nice bouquet out of them. But midwinter, all of those birds were coming in and they were eating all those berries that were in the decoration pots. They land on all of the branches, and those branches give them protection. Where I have these tall canna plants, they kind of give a wall to the birds like the hawks and things, where they can't just zip through here and grab something like they like to. I mean, if it's out there in the air and there's no protection, they can just fly in and grab it right out of the air. But they can't do that when there's tall things every foot or two, where they have to zigzag or crash into stuff on the other end. So when all my flowers were gone, I realized that my chickadees and finches and all of that were kind of sitting ducks, and that they didn't have any place to land. So they go to those trees right there, and the one on the other side right here, or right there, and we're pretty close to all of them. I would say they're all closer than 30 feet. So when they get up in there and then they want to zip down here to the bird baths, well, when there's no branches around, they were really just too scared to stay more than a minute or two. And they'd watch out for each other, sit up there on the eave up there and kind of watch out for each other, or on the branches on that aspen tree right there across the fence. But they were pretty skittish, and something about having those branches sticking up out of those pots that just made a maze for bigger birds to fly through, made the little birds happy, and it just filled up with all kinds of little birds. And in the spring, I was going to clear my pots, and lo and behold, when I went to just kind of pull the roots out, like normally they would have been frozen all winter, they would just pop right off and, you know, nothing to it, pull right out of the soil. They were still rock solid, and they weren't frozen either, which told me they were still alive. So mid-February, I took a lot of the pots that were extra, that weren't needed around my bird baths, and the ones that had my favorite, the hot lips and the I haven't had the vermillionaire come back that way, not even when I brought it into the greenhouse. But salvias that didn't die out came back. Lots of salvias, and the ones with the little red flowers, they receded. These guys, some of those are hot lips. That one right there, the kind of pointy on the ends, those receded everywhere. Hummingbird mint, hyssop, A lot of the salvias, some of my canna lilies, and let me see what else do I have that came back. A whole bunch of this purple salvia. These reseeded. Some of my zinnias reseeded, and some of my petunias, but I had hundreds and hundreds of plants that came back that I was able to put in a greenhouse in the spring. See, I started it up in March and just warmed it up in there and started watering the pots. Took the branches out, just started watering what was in the pots. And there's videos that show how many plants came back, and I would just go in there and take the little plants out, put them in a little pot of their own. You don't have to do that. You can just set your big pot somewhere warm. My friend has only one pot full of, maybe 3 pots that she puts in the garage, but one that has all the flowers in it, and she just puts it in a sunny window in her kitchen, and they just start growing. And she has all of her salvias just blooming and stuff by the time to put them out the end of April. But anyways, I wanted to be able to replant all these pots, so I spread my plants out and put them in a whole bunch of different little pots, and then I replanted them where I wanted them. And the cannas, I took the bulbs that I had in my garage and just put one of them in the center of every pot, and because I started them so early, I had to cut a whole bunch. I cut a whole bunch of stems out of there. One pot, I think it was this one next to the zinnias, was so full of cannas that literally I cut about 10 of them out in the spring just to make room for the other plants. But anyways, I'm gonna put those links in the description to my other videos, and let me know how it turns out for you, whichever way you want to do it. I would suggest not letting them get more than a light frost before you cut them back, and put the boughs over them. And if you don't want to decorate them and you just want to set them outside, if you can salvage some blue spruce pine boughs and just put them over the top of it, you know, several of them deep, they really insulate the plants. I don't know if they're right on the edge, inside edge of the pot, if it'll do it, because mine kind of hung over. It insulated the sides too. But anyways, I mean, it's worth experimenting, but I sold a few $100s worth of plants extra that I had, which gave me enough change that I was able to go to the flower shop and get me a few of the extra hot lips and a couple extra of the purple salvias, because the black and blue and the magenta one over there. Yeah, those are some of their favorites, and I just wanted to make sure I had enough variety of those so that there was some big plants in each one of those pots. And since I put the bloom booster in, forgive me for making you dizzy, but this pot here, seems like the plants have been kind of small all summer, and it's probably the extreme heat, because whenever it cools off, it'll grow a lot bigger, the plant. But when I put the bloom booster in there, it seems like all of a sudden I have like little branches coming out everywhere that I didn't have. So you might want to try that a little earlier in the spring if you ever get such a hot spring that your plants stay kind of small. And put some of that on early. And some fertilizer down in the dirt with some good soil so that you have some extra energy for them to grow a big plant, and lots of blooms early in the year is great. But anyways, these plants, because I started them so early and in the greenhouse in March, they have outdone most of the ones from the nursery, and I didn't have to buy very many of them at all. In the past I have bought a ton, but like my Mexican flag vine there, I started that in my greenhouse, and when I brought it out here, it had so many branches on it, or vines that were coming up that were so tangled up they went down and around and down and around and wadded up, that I just whacked them all off and put it in the pot in hopes that I could get it started again with a few stems. And obviously that worked well, because there is a lot of that plant. It goes clear over there, out there in that great big mass, and all those flowers, and climbs along here. Maybe it would be further, but I haven't taken the time to wind it up. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up this video, but you let me know how it works, and if you decide to save them and put some boughs in there and make some decorations out of them. I also decorated my branches and boughs with Christmas lights, and it lit up my backyard all winter long, fall, winter, and spring. And I enjoyed that. I like lights. I used the little, oh man, LED, little teeny lights like these. These I've kept for decorations, or for a night light out here along my patio all summer too. But they're just little teeny buttons, LEDs, and I decorated my branches and boughs with those, and enjoyed a Christmassy yard, or a lit up yard. Anyways, very pretty all winter. So multi-purpose. So have a great day. Whoops, finally see a hummingbird over there. I know they've been here in all the flowers, but when you're looking one direction, some of these young ones are so quiet, they can be right next to you and you don't see them. Sometimes my husband or my son, when they sit out here photographing them or just hanging out, they just kind of nod in the direction, and they might be right next to me, and maybe I just wasn't seeing them because they're so quiet. The males, on the other hand, they want all the other hummingbirds to know that they are there, and they snap, crackle, and pop and sound like little electrical shorts. Anyways, they're just electric birds. The sound of electricity and all of the crackling and stuff out here is so much fun to hear in the summer when I open the windows and I can hear hummingbirds everywhere. They really have liked this vine though. The last time I planted it, it did not start blooming until they were leaving. Like the last week that they were here, I had some flowers because I mistakenly put too much nitrogen on it, and it grew a beautiful plant with beautiful huge leaves by the thousands, but no flowers. Finally I watered it really good and tried to put some flower producing plant food on it, and finally got some flowers out of it. This year I made sure that I did not put too much nitrogen on it. And I ended up with a really nice plant. So anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Any questions that you have about doing the flowers, hopefully my pictures will help and videos of what I did, but you just feel free to ask, and I try to get back to people just as soon as I see the message. Night or day sometimes. A lot of times I answer videos at 2 in the morning. There's people on the other side of the world that enjoy asking questions in their daylight, and anyways, it's fun to get back to them. So until next time, at least we saw one hummingbird here having fun, and got to tell you how to do the pots, or how I did mine. So have a great day. This is Joanne. Till next time. Thanks for watching.